And we're live. Beers and Buffalo Podcast, Season 7, Episode 1. Not to be confused with last week being Episode 0, which was actually Episode 1. But we start off on Episode 0 just to be kind of funny, I guess. I don't know. Well,
we did that last year because week 0, we did a podcast before week 1. And then we wanted to get everything in sync with the whole season. And now it's going to be thrown off because we're going to be whatever week we're at, and it's going to be week 1 of the NFL. So
yeah, it's going to be weird.
We're going to have to keep track of this year.
You're right. We were following kind of the weeks with the episodes, and we did one right before in the preseason, kind of like a recap of everything last year. But since we've started the podcast a little bit earlier this year, we're covering more than just the NFL this year. There's going to be a ton more episodes, and hopefully you guys like the live stream. This is something new again we're doing this year. Hopefully going forward, we're trying to get better with it as we do these things. I'm hoping the audio sounds good. I hope the video looks great on your guys' phones, tablets, wherever you're watching it. But yeah, man, Episode 1, we're going to talk NFL draft today. We're going to talk some NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, a little MLB, a little bit of everything. But before we talk Bills, we're going to talk beer. And I'll switch over to the screen capture here. Couldn't find it on their website, but this is from Griffin Brewing, local brewery to us here out of Lewiston, New York. It's their Caddy Wampus. Say that really fast. West Coast Pilsner. Never heard of a West Coast Pilsner. Heard of West Coast IPAs before. This one's looking to be a little bit lighter at 6%. And I say lighter at 6% because typically we're drinking IPAs, it feels like almost every other week, that are like 8, 9, 10%ers.
Yeah, I mean, the IPAs are like the big thing now. I feel like they were kind of cool back in the day, and then everybody was just like, oh, craft beer. But everything's an IPA. Now you got double IPAs, triple IPAs, hazy IPAs.
Have you seen a quadruple IPA yet?
I have not, and I feel like that would knock me out after one drink.
It's got to be like a 20%er, dude. It might as well just be just a liqueur or something at that point. And I'm back to not knowing how to pour again.
Back to not knowing how to pour? You've never known how to pour.
No, I got a couple good ones here and there. Let's see. So you folks can see what it looks like. The can is pretty interesting. I don't know what that is on the can.
It looks like a walrus.
It looks like a walrus with hair.
Or a sea lion. They got an actual
could be a walrus,
on there.
dude.
Walrus, sea lion.
And I thought maybe that's what a Caddy Wampus was. And I was wrong, folks. We got the actual definition right here. Common in the South, I guess. Something that's crooked, askew, or not arranged correctly. So I guess this is a crooked beer. I have no idea why this is. So it signifies something that is being slightly off-kiltered, imperfect, not properly aligned. I don't know if you want your beer to be not perfect or off-kilter, but I
mean, look at this pour, though. I mean, I got no head. You've got all the head.
Well, I got to have a little bit on there.
Yeah, cheers.
Definitely crushable, but I feel like it's lacking a little bit of flavor. Does it not taste like a little bland?
I was waiting for something to kick in, and I didn't get anything on the first sip. I didn't get anything on the back end. I swallowed it. I'm like, it's missing something. It's not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not the greatest.
And I just ate too, so it doesn't taste like weird or anything. It just doesn't have anything that stands out on it. No particular flavor note. I mean,
what is it the can say it's supposed to be?
It doesn't even have like a smell or anything to it. This is this is their light beer. They did a good job of making a light beer, I guess, but I wish it had a little bit more flavor. I feel like Miller Lite has more flavor than this.
Yeah.
Which isn't a good sign if
Miller Lite's got more flavor.
If Griffin's listening to this, sorry to knock this one, but sorry. And I was incorrect. Not Lewiston, New York. Brewed out of Youngstown.
I was going to correct you, but I already forgotten because you were just talking.
I was.
It doesn't even say anything on here like what the flavors or what the notes are, which is kind of weird because that's normally what you see on the cans when you got a craft beer. It tells you what the notes, what the flavors are supposed to be.
Well, they also didn't have this on their website, though, so they listed a bunch of stuff they have on tap. This wasn't one of them, so I don't know if this just came out and they haven't posted it, or it was an older beer from last year that they removed, and consumers isn't trying to get rid of a bunch of them, whatever. But they had a ton. We picked it up at Consumer Beverages, and I saw about 8 different Griffin Brewing beers there. Again, I think 6 of them were IPAs, and the other 2 were not.
Yeah, well,
they had a Belgian beer. I think it was like it wasn't a Belgian wheat. It was something Belgium, 9%.
I'll sleep in here if that's the case.
Well, I wasn't going to bust a 9%er out right away. I wanted to go to a lighter beer since we don't review too many light beers. A lot of the IPAs are usually heavy hitters, but
this is definitely a light beer. I'm not going to rate this that high, though. I'd probably give this a 6.5. This isn't something.
I thought you were going to give it a 6 after the percentage again.
No, that was just last week, and that was just a coincidence.
6.5. Let me take another sip here.
I think that's my height, 6'5".
You wish.
I do. Although sometimes I don't.
Dude, this one's like, I just not get anything out of it, really, man. I mean,
it's just a plain beer. I'd honestly rather have a Miller Lite over this.
It's not
and
good.
You could probably buy a 12-pack or an 18-pack for the price of these.
West Coast Pilsner. If this is what they're drinking out in California, you guys are missing something out there, man, because this is... I'm going to go even lower. I'm going to go...
Wow.
Yeah, dude.
I thought 6.5 was low.
Yeah, this honestly is not that great. I'm giving this a 5.9, dude.
Didn't want to give it a 6?
I didn't want to give it a 6 strictly because of that. But I feel like I have to set the tone with this because we haven't had anything this... I really feel bad calling it bad, but we haven't had anything like this where it lacked that much flavor.
It's not bad. It's just not great.
It just doesn't taste like anything.
Reviewing beers, I want something that's going to be like, wow, this is amazing. Like something that, like when they're a one-off. Like,
right.
I could see these being 12-ounce cans and a 12-pack for $12.
But to your point, like a Miller Lite, I think tastes better than this.
And it's only 4.5%.
And it's 4.5%. Who knows? It could be one of those cases where they get better on the second go around here, but
maybe that's why it's not on their website. Maybe they know. They know it's not good. They're like, we're not brewing this.
They're just trying to get rid of as many of these as possible. Like the can is really cool.
The can is great. I love it.
You can't really tell. I mean, we showed the walrus, but on the left side, that's definitely a lion. And on the right side's some sort of chimpanzee or ape or something. Yeah. Man, I don't know. Cool can.
And I'm drawn to artwork on cans. Like, I love a good. I'll buy a beer just for the.
Well, that's what they did. They got me.
Yeah,
they got me with the can. I looked. I saw a walrus with hair, and I said, "Cattywampus, cool name." We picked 6%er, light beer, refreshing. I've had plenty of light beers, not even just like domestics, but plenty of other breweries with light beers. Because nowadays everybody's got to have a lager.
Yeah,
you have to have a lager.
You have to have a lager.
Woodcock's got the Niagara lager. Yep. Griffin's got this one. Who else? I mean, they all have some sort of lager or light ale because you need to appeal to the masses, and not everybody likes IPAs and sours. So, man, I feel bad with the 5.9, but like I was beginning to say, kind of got sidetracked. I kind of got to set the baseline of we have not had anything this low scored before, at least from either of us. Even like the 6.5, I think we had something last year.
I don't know if I've had anything that low.
Yeah, so I have to set the baseline because I feel like we'll be in the 6s and it'll be better than this, but it still won't be great.
I think I give a sour a better rating, and I don't like sours at all.
Well, it was what, 2 episodes ago? I think it was.
I think it was the final episode of last season.
Yep, when we had the sour and.
Well, you have 2024 over there. Could you click it?
I don't know if I put it in here or not. Let's take a gander. No, this is going back. So I never.
Yeah, we
never kept up with the beers. Track. We were drinking them. We just weren't keeping track. But actually, now that we have this up, 6.8. Here's a 6. We see. Look at right here.
Yeah, Elijah. The bourbon.
That was the bourbon, but that's not a beer.
That 6.5 for the sugar cookie. Yeah, those sugar cookies. That was the Saturday episode we did.
We went a little crazy there. We did 6.5.
Yeah, those sugar cookie ones weren't good. That was the Saturday podcast after you got back from Miami.
That's because. And honestly, it's not lack of flavor. That was too sweet. It literally was just so sugar forward, which I get it. They crushed the name. But look even at that, that's why I'm saying like 5.9 is a good baseline because even 6, I feel like that sugar cookie was better than this beer. I'm glad I rated that lower than that. And then that was it, man.
Now
that was
the
lowest beer.
Now.
I mean, we had some Pilsners because I'm looking at like light. Where's our light lager? Our Busch Light was freaking 8 and 7.5, dude.
That was like end of the summer. I've been drinking those all summer.
Yeah.
Those were good.
I wasn't really displaying that on the feed, but that's all right. You guys heard us talking about it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some football talk here. We're gonna start some things off with the draft here. I guess we'll start with the biggest news, and I hate to beat a dead horse, but it's like what just keeps popping up in mainstream media. We'll start with Shedeur Sanders, who was a projected, top 5 pick in the draft before draft day, sliding all the way to pick 144 in the 5th round. I guess I'm going to ask why? Like, that's the biggest question, and there's a lot of speculation on this. Nobody knows for sure. Crazy stuff has been thrown out there. I'll let you start with that, man. Why did this guy slide that far down in the 5th round, which is crazy to me? 5th round is a little absurd.
Everything I've heard post-draft was because of his attitude in the drafts. He came in as Shedeur Sanders, like the person, and this image of himself as somebody that was top tier, had this ego about him. He wasn't presenting himself as your franchise quarterback. He was presenting himself as, hey, I'm Shedeur Sanders. This is what I've got going on. This is what I'm going to bring to the team. But none of it was football related, and a lot of people were turned off by that.
So you think it was kind of like off the field, negative media attention, probably his attitude, because he does come off cocky, but a lot of college kids come off.
Joe Burrow's cocky, but he's so good.
Caleb Williams last year, I really disliked his attitude towards it. But again, mixing that with being very confident, knowing what you want to do, he still got taken 1 overall, right? So obviously there was something in there that detoured a lot of teams from taking him. And like I said, I could see it. Okay, you sliding out of the top 10. I can see you sliding out of the 1st round. Now we're in the 2nd and 3rd round. And a lot of these teams still need a quarterback, are passing up on you, namely the Steelers.
Yeah.
Who have Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson. And then they ended up drafting a guy after Shedeur, I think, even. They drafted another quarterback on there.
I don't know who it was, but Tyler Shuck got drafted before Shedeur Sanders. It's just like, holy shit, what is going on? And if you've ever seen a Tyler Shuck highlight tape, if you need a good laugh, go check it out. He throws some fucking goose eggs right to the ground.
Jesus.
It's so bad.
It was Will Howard.
Will Howard. Will Howard's a good quarterback, though.
And he's a good quarterback out of Ohio State, I believe. And they asked Tomlin about this because, again, one of these teams that if your QB1 is Mason Rudolph and QB2 is Skylar Thompson and QB3 is a rookie and it's not Shedeur, why? And I think it might just be a better fit for the team because they believe they still are in the running to get Aaron Rodgers. They're still hopeful that they can land Aaron Rodgers before the season begins, which is kind of crazy to me because you shouldn't be drafting thinking you're going to get a guy, and that's how you formulate your draft picks. But they might think that if they do get Rodgers, Howard would be a good fit to sit behind him. Because let's be honest, either Rudolph or Skylar Thompson will probably get on the chopping block.
Probably both, honestly.
Or both of them.
Because they have Joe Flacco, too.
No, they don't. Not the Steelers.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking the Browns. Yeah. I was thinking Shedeur.
But we can go back to Shedeur now because it's like, so the team that eventually did take him, they got Joe Flacco. They have
Kenny Pickett. Super Bowl champion Kenny Pickett.
Super Bowl champion Kenny Pickett. Can't leave that out. This is who they actually drafted a guy after Shedeur as well.
So they drafted 3 quarterbacks this round?
They had 2. They drafted 2. But they have 5 QBs. I'm forgetting the one other QB. They have 5 QBs on their roster right now. 2 of them they drafted.
That's absolutely insane.
And so you took a guy after him, which makes 0 sense. Like, this almost makes me feel like they don't believe in him at all. And it was like, man, at this point, like, I get it. He's honestly the biggest steal of the draft just because of the hype around him. And it's not like he had a dog shit season. Like, he had the numbers. He had I still think, obviously, Cam Ward had a better season. And honestly, I like Jackson Dart a little bit over him. But after that, like, you're looking at it, it was a pretty weak QB class this year. Everybody's saying next year is going to be the year we all draft QBs, yada, yada. But to slide that far, it's still considered a steal of the draft, I guess.
Yeah.
Did you see the news where he got pranked by the Falcons' defensive coordinator's son?
Yeah, real quick, though. Dylan Gabriel was picked before Shedeur Sanders.
Okay, so they picked him before. I thought it was after.
The last pick for the Browns was Shedeur Sanders, 144. The dude was projected to go top 5. He went round 5, which is absolutely insane.
So,
but real quick, back to the YouTube real quick. Phil has a very good observation here. The simplest answer is usually the correct one. Highly doubt it's collusion. Bombed interviews, skipped the combine, and forgot about that, and did half of his pro day drills. That's a terrible combination, exactly what he said. But he even agrees that 5th is too far down, though, 5th round.
Good luck, Good luck, PJ.
Phil. Yeah.
That's my cousin right there.
I know PJ.
Yeah, man. That's a good... I heard about the interviews. not doing good in the interviews. I mean, look at it.
He came with a cocky attitude, and he didn't show himself as a friend. He didn't present himself as like, hey, I'm going to be your franchise quarterback. He presented himself as, I'm Shedeur Sanders. You get what you get. Basically.
Yeah, and I don't think he did this, but you can't go in there thinking it's okay. I'm Deion's son, and it'll be okay. I could just kind of get by because they know my family. That might work in some jobs, but I mean, at least for this, you're interviewing for one of the biggest jobs in the world, a professional athlete. You're hoping that a team picks you up, and it's more than just, skill set. It's more than arm strength and foot speed and accuracy, and those all play a part of it. It's the mental, it's your attitude, it's what you bring to the culture. So, yeah, obviously a lot of teams were off put by something with these interviews, because that is right. I did forget about that. He didn't do good on these interviews, supposedly, is what we've been hearing. But yeah, that was pretty crazy.
I watched some tape of his from his college days. He will stand in the pocket. He does hold on to the ball too long, but a lot of people do. Caleb Williams did the same thing. But he will stand in the pocket. His offensive line was trash. He still stood in the pocket and took absolute brutal hits and still made the throw. And they were pretty accurate throws too. He's not a high athlete. He's not a high motor athlete. He's not going to run for 20, 30 yards like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. But he's going to go get you 4 or 5 extra yards. He's not bad, but yeah, it's just crazy to think that he dropped that far down. And there has to be, like Phil said, not collusion, but there's got to be something along the lines of like his interviews were that bad. So but then the report came out that a lot of owners told the GMs, take this dude off your draft board. Don't even pick him up.
Yeah, and I hate it because then you got people like Stephen A. Smith and Ryan Clark, who's the biggest proponent of this, calling out, it was racism, and which you can't even do that because literally the number 1 pick was a black QB.
Yeah,
so
80% of the first round was black.
But even so, the number 1 pick was a black QB. So like immediately that argument gets thrown out the window right away, right? So yeah, man, unfortunate for him because he probably lost out on a lot of money there. Yeah, being drafted that high, or could have been drafted that high, but he landed on a team. I think obviously he's going to make the team, and we'll see how he does. Now, there was odds of him like actually starting week 1, and I don't even know, like it was like 3-1 odds or something, like 4-1 odds. It wasn't like a lock that he would start. So
he probably won't. They've got. We'll see what Joe Flacco can do.
It looks like it could be Joe Flacco because he's the most familiar with that team, and he's the most veteran presence on that team. And they did really well with him 2 years ago when he was on the Browns. So I really think it's Joe Flacco's job to lose. It's Shedeur to sit behind him and probably pick it as well, and we'll see what happens with that. I think the biggest news was, though, the Jaguars trading up to get Travis Hunter kind of caught, I think, a lot of people off guard.
Absolutely.
Because we thought that the Browns, it would have been a good fit for that type of player. They need everything anyways.
Yeah,
so having a two-way player like that, I thought would have been a good fit. But Jaguars trade up to get him. Again, we talked about it, last episode. Still don't think it's going to be a 50-50 split with him.
No.
I feel like they're going to work him out, and it could even be, game scripted where do we play him 75 DB, 25, receiver this game, and then next game we flip it? Could it? Because they could alternate. It doesn't have to be you're going to play 75, 80% DB or 75, 80% wide receiver a whole season. They could flip-flop it, but to be 50-50, I really don't see that happening for an entire NFL game every week.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. He is young. He did do that in college. He played, I think, like 80 and 90% of the snaps on both offense and defense. But it's going to come down to what the Jaguars need. They just got Brian Thomas Jr. last year. Mm-hmm. Fantastic wide receiver. So he's not taking the number 1 wide receiver position from them. If they need a cornerback more than they need a wide receiver, then he's going to start at cornerback way more than he's going to be a wide receiver, and they might just sprinkle him in there on not even just trick plays, but they'll get him in on the offense.
Yeah.
But I do think it's going to be a cornerback heavy type of play for him.
I wanted to look up and if I could spell Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's Jackson with a CKS, not an X.
Not first incarnate word. Okay, I want to look up their depth chart real quick just to see who they have, because I don't even we don't really pay too much attention to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and there's a good reason.
Yeah,
they're ass. I mean, besides Brian Thomas Jr., who was fun to watch last year, and unless you're playing fantasy football and you got a couple of these guys, so offensively, I mean, him on the other side, obviously they already have him listed as wide receiver 3 here. It looks like, unless this is 2 and this is the slot on the depth chart, and then defensively. I don't even see. Where's the other cornerback? Left corner. Oh, right here. They have him second. So at least on the depth chart, the Jags have him listed as a starting wideout and kind of like the third option or second string as a cornerback. None of those names really stick out on cornerback to me. I think Darnell that's a free safety. Yeah, I don't even remember. I don't know any of these guys. So
yeah, I don't really pay attention to Jacksonville.
It looks like they, at least according to ESPN's website and depth chart, he's going to be a wide receiver first and cornerback second. But we'll see how that unfolds as the season starts.
I think it's going to go based off of needs per game. If they're going up against a higher powered offense, someone that you need a better cornerback out there, he's going to be out there. If you got a game where you can absolutely tear apart a defense, he's going to be out there on offense. You know.
Yeah,
it's going to be one of those things. And it's funny. I mentioned it and I hated it. I wanted to say it. And I had not heard anybody say this before until I said it. And I said, I hate to say this, but it's kind of Shohei-esque because he's a two-way player, much like Shohei. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's just, I was either, I had my blinders on, didn't hear nothing. But now everybody's saying it's Shohei-esque. Like, oh, okay, cool. Like I sent you the screenshot. You did. It was the day after we talked about it on the podcast.
I thought this was interesting. I pulled this up. Jersey sales for rookies in this past draft here. The sale rankings here. Number 1, Travis Hunter. Number 2, Cam Ward. 3, Sanders. 4, Genty. 5, that McMillan guy for the Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
Tat McMillan.
Yeah, Tate or Tat, whatever it is. Tit for tat.
6, Jackson Dart. 7, Abdul Carter. 8, Matthew Golden, receiver, went to the Packers. 9, Tyler Warren, tight end to the Colts. And then 10, Colston Loveland, tight end, went to the Bears. A couple tight ends made the list here. But I thought that was interesting. Jackson Dart at 6 there.
Yeah, it is kind of surprising.
I mean,
he's probably going to start.
I don't think he's starting over Russ,
okay,
dude.
You're right. I forgot
That's
about Russ.
That's the thing. It's like, I mean...
Well, I think it's because they know they've only got Russ for 1 year. Jameis is 2 years, and Jameis is so fucking hit or miss that you don't know what he's going to do. They needed somebody else. They need somebody on that depth chart. I actually think Jackson Dart got drafted to the best situation because he's probably going to sit behind Russ. If something happens to Ross, probably going to sit for a little bit behind.
I think Winston's got the next call
Jameis gets the next start, and then you've probably got a franchise quarterback. The quarterbacks that do the best go into the best situations. Like Patrick Mahomes went in the best situation. He sat behind a team that went to the AFC Championship the year before.
Is that Alex Smith was still on the team?
Yeah, Alex Smith was still on the team. They took him to the AFC Championship, and now they haven't missed the AFC Championship since he's been on the team. Went into the perfect situation. I'm drawing blanks on Aaron Rodgers. Same thing. They had Brett Favre. He sat for 4 years. Boom. History repeated itself. Aaron Rodgers getting old. They drafted Jordan Love. Jordan Love, best situation. He sat for 4 years. Look at him. He's a good quarterback right now. It's very rare that a quarterback goes into a team in a good situation and starts right away. Because if they're in a good situation, they're not drafting high enough to get a good quarterback, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up here, switch over the screen capture. New York Giants depth chart. Russ, Jameis, Jackson. I forgot they still have Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, Tommy DeVito is going to get cut probably.
Your boy got drafted. That's what I wanted to talk about.
I know. I love Cam Skadeboo. I really was hoping the Bills would have drafted him. I'm telling you, he's taking over that job.
I think it'll be him and Tracy. I don't think he'll take over completely from Tracy. Singletary will get phased out of that offense, though, for sure. And it'll be the 1-2 punch with Skadeboo and Tracy. Neighbors, Wando Robinson. Slayton's still on this fucking team, dude. I feel like he's been in there forever. Little Jordan Humphrey. Defensively, Sexy Dexy. What do I got here?
Abdul Carter.
This guy's good. I can't pronounce his name. Okikre or whatever. He's pretty good.
Okarik?
No,
Okarik?
Okikre? I don't know, man.
Sure.
Yeah, no, they have a good Javon Holland.
They upgraded. I think
I feel like this team looks good on paper.
Yeah, they made some good offseason moves this year, and I think they actually, I think they drafted very well too. I think Jackson Dart is going to be a fantastic quarterback. Abdul Carter is going to be a menace. Actually, did you see that Abdul Carter he asked Lawrence Taylor if he could unretire his number 56, and Lawrence Taylor told him no. He said, the number's retired, go out and make your own write your own history.
Yeah.
He wasn't like being a douche about it. It's like, no, the number's retired.
Well, first of all, who asks to unretire a jersey? I feel like
Cam Moore got Warren Moon's number unretired from the Titans, even though Warren Moon played for the Houston Oilers, but I don't even know if Warren Moon was.
I feel like we're going to get to a point where there's going to be so many retired jerseys that you're going to have to.
Yeah, it depends.
You're going to have to.
There's
10 years from now, dude. There's going to be,
you get 100 numbers. You get 53 on the team.
Well, yeah, and then you're going to have quarterbacks with 86 because
how many players are actually in people's Ring of Honors?
No, I get it.
I know the Steelers, the Patriots probably going to have a bunch. The teams that are Dallas, 49ers.
What I'm saying is eventually it's going to get harder and harder to pick numbers, and you're going to have to probably use a retired number.
I'm just saying the NFL's been around for 100 years.
Yeah.
Over 100 years. And there's probably not even 10 numbers retired on each team.
What's crazy, and that's why...
And that means there's still 90 numbers.
Well, that's why Gretzky's the great one, because nobody in the NHL can use 99.
They retired it.
The whole NHL.
They retired it throughout the NHL.
I know. Kind of switching topics real quick, but... We're
talking numbers.
We are talking numbers. Okay, I want to talk a little bit of Bills here. So according to CBS, the Bills did have an A+ draft ranking here.
They did. They had one of the better. Actually, a lot of the draft analysts had the Bills having a fantastic draft. I agree. The first 5 picks were all defensive, which is they went after what they needed the most. They got faster in the secondary, and they got younger on the defensive line. They are on average already 5 years younger on their defensive line than when they left the field in Kansas City after the AFC Championship. That's a huge jump.
Right. Let me switch back. So I want to talk Maxwell Hairston first. Obviously, our first round pick out of Kentucky, former teammate of Ray Davis too. He brings that speed element. He's somebody that can play alongside, and I think is going to be a good pairing with Christian Benford on the outside there. Plays man well, plays zone well. You can ask him to do something. He's going to be able to adapt and do that.
He's a ball hawk.
He's a ball hawk. I think he might be a little bit undersized is what people are saying, but that speed's going to make up for it. I think it's a great pick for the Bills with their first pick. It's definitely, we were saying, corner or edge rusher were kind of like the two that I was leaning between with the first pick. And according to Bean, you take the best available on the board. So they have a bunch of guys. If he's there, you take him. If he's not there, or if you think you're going to miss out, you trade up, and that's what they did with their second pick. We'll get into a second, but I think for this, the Bills haven't had speed in the secondary like this in a long time.
Yeah. He had the fastest 40 time in the combine this year. 4.28, I think it was.
And you're going to need speed when you're going to have to play the Chiefs probably multiple times in a year.
Yeah, we're playing them at least once. And
someone's got to line up on Worthy,
Yeah.
And you got to play the Dolphins with Tyreek, and somebody's got to line up on him. You need to have that guy that's going to be able to go in a foot race with some of these faster wide receivers out here that he might not need. You'll definitely, Tyreek's going to probably be a guy that you double team regardless, but a lot of these guys where you can leave them on an island and not have to worry about, the additional coverage and secondary help from the safeties. That's huge, man. It's hard to find a lockdown corner. I was hoping the Bills would actually go out and pay and get Jalen Ramsey, dude.
Yeah,
I was never really a biggest fan of him, but he's a lockdown corner, and there's not that many of those guys.
I think the problem is cornerback is now a young person's job. There probably aren't many cornerbacks over the age of 30 that are starters in the NFL anymore. It's a young person's job. He's over the age of 30. He's been dealing with injuries.
Yeah, the injuries.
He also talked shit about Josh. Josh had to shut him up a little bit. And I think
he's a trash talker, and that's what he's going to do. And there's so many guys that talk shit about Josh, and Josh can dish it right back out anyway.
I understand that, but
I'm not going to hold that against. I wouldn't hold that against him. And it's not like this. It's not like it was a guy that has been talking shit for 70.
Yeah,
you
it
know
was
what I
when
mean?
they played him.
It's when we played him. He's not like he's known for that. He's known to be a shit talker. It's not like he has this thing against Josh Allen or this thing personally against the Bills. That's just how he is. But I don't know, man. I like this Maxwell Hairston this pickup. That actually might be my jersey this year, the Chinese jersey.
Or you get a Hairston?
I think I want to get a Hairston jersey.
Do we know what number he's wearing yet?
Dude, he was holding it up. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah. I'll start with it on our second round pick. Defensive tackle TJ Sanders out of South Carolina. I thought this was a great trade. I was really hoping the Bills would have done something with their fourth round picks and gone up into the third, but they got rid of one of their seconds and got a third in that trade too. So I liked what they did with that trade. I don't know where the trade came from, but he's an explosive defensive tackle, and he's got so much potential to be a disruptive interior lineman. Like I just love what that dude's going to be able to do on the defensive side of the ball, and that's what we need. We need like a run stopper. We need someone that's going to be able to go after the quarterback, just be able to make plays. And I honestly probably going to be a day one starter.
Yeah, I mean, trading up from 56 to 41 to take him. 6'4", 300 pounds, good interior piece, helped to stop the run. A little bit of pass rushing ability as well. I agree, man. But like I said, this guy and the guy we're going to talk about next, I think were the other pieces that the Bills were strongly missing last year, and needing that pass rush presence. You need to get after the quarterback, dude. You really do. You're going to need a quarterback, and you're going to need to get after a quarterback. And, the war is really won in the trenches, not to be cliche with it, and it's been said a lot, and Bean has been outspoken about this, needing a good offensive line and needing a good defensive line, disrupting the opponent's quarterback and protecting your own, as well as having that quarterback. But I do like this pick with TJ Sanders. The third round pick 72, they take Landon Jackson, former Arkansas Razorback, skilled edge rusher, 6'6", 264, ran a 4.68 in the combine 40. Again, we'll definitely benefit from adding a guy like this to be able to apply pressure to the QB. This is the guy that will take over the backfield, I'm thinking, in a couple years, or get to the backfield in a couple years. He'll be that guy. He'll be what, I mean, we could say that about Joey Bosa is supposed to be what Von Miller is, but I really think this is going to be the guy that the Bills are going to, try to develop, and hopefully they can keep around because he's an animal. He's got length too. He's long, dude. I forget what his wingspan is.
I'm like, dude, this dude's arms like the fucking go gadget arms. Like, holy shit, they're huge.
And that's going to come in, and that's going to be really helpful. I mean,
slowing somebody down, putting your arm out.
Put your arm out.
Yeah, get your hand on the body.
Or how many times where you get caught up at the line and like, you can't get around the guy, but someone's running by you just grab their jersey, right?
What I mean.
So,
let's hold it. You can't grab the jersey.
Wow. Grab a piece of something. Dude, grab something.
Just slow him down.
Grab a dread.
Yeah,
slow him down, dude.
Grab a dread.
So I don't know. I like that pick too.
Yeah, I think he's going to fill in nicely behind Joey Bosa. And I think that's a little bit of an insurance policy with Joey Bosa's injury history. I think if Joey Bosa comes in healthy, Landon Jackson's probably going to sit behind him a little bit, fill in for him. They rotate in and out with Joey Bosa. He's going to learn. I'm telling you. And he was also projected originally to be a top 60 pick. So this dude is. He's
like 12 more picks.
Yeah, this dude's gonna have a thorn in the saddle. He's gonna have something out. He's gonna want to get out there and prove people wrong. I think that's going to be really good. And I hate that I stole that line from WGR today. The thorn in the saddle. We're
going to get in some WGR stuff too.
Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about that too.
We'll talk about it a little bit here. And you said it too. Landon Johnson. I keep wanting to call him. I keep wanting to call him Landon Johnson too. Landon Jackson. Landon Jackson. I have to get used to saying that.
I've got to work with. His name is Travis. I call him Trevor. I can't get it out of my head. Every time I'm training him, I can't get him out of my head.
Call him T.
Yeah.
So we talked about earlier. I mean, 6 out of the 9 draft picks were defensive players, which is what we needed. Like you said, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. The 3 offensive positions that were drafted, we got a tight end in round 5, an offensive tackle in round 6, and a wide receiver in round 7. I think are going to be all good depth pieces at this point, right? I mean, after the year that Kincaid had, and when I say that after the year he had, the lack of a year that he had last year, and kind of them phasing Dawson Knox out of the offense. He's still got a whole nother year after this one. I think he's good up until 2020, like through 26.
Yeah.
So we have him for 2 more seasons, but because he signed that contract extension. They're looking to the future here. They're trying to get the next guy. You always got to be ready. But also at the same token, it's like, I know the Bills believe in Kincaid. I think last year was going to be a fluke year. A lot of Bills fans were upset with Kincaid and his lack of production, especially after year one. I just think that it wasn't necessarily him. I think that just the way that the Bills were scheming last year, where everybody eats, spreading the ball, not having Stephon Diggs anymore and having a number one. Josh was just spreading the ball. And when you do that, you're going to get less targets to some of your guys that you think should get more targets. It's who's open. Whether or not that's his fault for not being as open as he should have been, it's whatever. But my point is adding depth pieces. So getting another tight end. And we could use a 3 tight end set. We've done that. I like that move.
Well, I don't think we have Quentin Morris anymore.
I think
he's going to replace Quentin Morris. He's going to, whoever our third string tight end was.
I think that we don't have a couple years ago.
He is going to replace that third string tight end, and everything I see about him, he's a great blocker in the tight end position, and he's a younger, faster, stronger tight end than what we previously had in that. I
said Kanye, younger, faster, stronger.
Oh. Anyways, so I'm sidetracked now, but thank you. He's a younger, stronger, faster tight end of the version that we had in that previous position. I got some notes up here for once. Okay.
No, I'm wondering if we're freezing because I'm getting an error that YouTube is not ready or something like that. I have
no idea.
Are we coming through? If we're coming through, we're fine.
I'm delayed on mine, but probably about 15, 20 seconds. I'll pull up a thing
to see what's going on here. I think we'll be all right. It says streaming software, receive enough. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So it might be a little choppy, folks. I think we'll be all right.
Hopefully.
I don't know. That's the first time I've ever seen that banner. You find something new every time.
Turn my Wi-Fi off? Does that make a difference? I'll turn my Wi-Fi
Sure, why not?
See, sure. Maybe too much bandwidth, maybe?
Maybe. I think I got so many things fucking plugged in down here,
too.
You do. So you mentioned it about WGR. I want to talk about that. I saw the clip. Brandon Beane kind of got into it with the host of WGR Radio. They kind of came at him about why the Bills didn't draft a wide receiver. And obviously we drafted one, but why we didn't draft one sooner, I guess. And his answer was, look, man, we had other needs that were greater. We scored 30 points, 8 consecutive games in a row last year. We obviously, he's like, I could see if you guys said that last year after we got Stephon, but to say it this year after what we did without having the guy,
right?
Why he was pissed, dude. He's like, you guys got to just bitch about something, yada, yada, yada. I like it, man. I honestly like the answer, and I like how he came at him.
I agree. I was wondering.
I like that.
I was wondering what you were going to say. He's like, dude, you guys gave me shit about Josh Allen. Everybody wanted Josh Rosen, and look how that turned out. He was an MVP last year, and now it's just like, what do you want me to do? It's like exactly like you said. Mm-hmm. We were the highest scoring team in the NFL last year. Like we don't need offensive players. As long as we have Josh Allen, we're fine. Like, it doesn't make any sense why people were complaining that we didn't go get a wide receiver.
Right.
Like, we didn't need a wide receiver. That's why we didn't go get one. If we needed one, we would have gotten one. We have Khalil Shakir, who has the highest catch percentage rate in the entire NFL out of every single wide receiver. Harrison, 31. I kind of like the number.
Yeah, going back on that, I think he'll be 31, but that's on the Bills' website, so we'll see what happens.
Anyways, but defense was absolutely the need. We got another tight end that's gonna fill in and actually be productive for us. He's not gonna catch a lot of balls, but he's gonna show up on stats that you won't see. He's gonna show up. All the blocking that he's gonna do. He's gonna help out Josh tremendously on that right side. I really think that Brandon Beane is right, and anybody that was against him on the way he drafted this year doesn't know what they're talking about and shouldn't be making comments about it. Because I absolutely believe that Brandon Beane had probably a flawless draft this year. The biggest needs got corrected.
No, and
like I said, our cornerbacks are a lot faster, and our defensive line went from one of the oldest in the NFL. We dropped 5 years on average for starters on our defensive line. That's huge.
That's a good stat.
I'm the stat guy for a reason, you know. But I mean, 5 years is big.
I like that.
Big difference for age-wise. We were going younger.
No, and I agree with that. I think Beane historically has done a really good job. during the draft. Like you said, he filled in the real needs in this. And we're at the point now where it's like, to be honest, man, even without Shakir, I still think they don't even need to get a wide receiver, just because Josh proved he can do it with anybody, right? And of course, you're going to want to get a guy that you can count on, somebody that you have to go to on third downs, come up with the big catch here and there. But in general, I think the Bills are very confident that anybody can step up. These guys are all professional wide receivers. And here's what happened when you got a QB that can put the ball right on the money every time, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to make the bad pass. He's going to put it there for his receiver to make the play, and it's up to the receiver to make the play. So having him alleviates you needing to go get a star wide receiver. Would you love to have Justin Jefferson? Sure. Is it needed? No, because you can make it work without him. And I think Bina even said that about, like, this isn't fantasy football. Like, people get caught up in the skill position players. Yeah, you would like to have a Pro Bowler at all these positions, but it's just not possible. Salary cap, yada, yada, yada. So, and to his point again, and what I mentioned earlier, the battles are won in the trenches. Making sure you have an offensive line, because as good as Josh is, and we know he's mobile, he can get outside the pocket, you still got to be able to protect him. You still got to give him time to throw. There's certain plays that are going to require the time to throw. And at the same token, on the other side of the ball, you're going to need to get to the quarterback, because the Bills last year, as good as their defense was in turnovers and scoring points, they gave up a shit ton of yards, man. We couldn't get after the quarterback. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know we were pretty bad. We were probably either in the middle of the pack or near the end of the pack, probably middle to end in sacks. It was more of like we lived or died by the interception.
Yeah.
Because we were just giving up so many points. And I get it. There's injuries every year. And it feels like the Bills are cursed with that, especially on defense, because there's no magic guy on defense that could turn around. Like offense, as long as Josh is healthy, you got a chance. Who's the guy on defense? As long as he's healthy, we got a chance. There's not really that guy. Milano, I thought earlier in his career was going to be that guy. Then the injury bug hit him. And then you go to somebody like, what's his face, Bernard. And then you go to, I like Dorian Williams last year.
Dorian Williams too.
So, and we were past the Hyde and
Poyer,
stage in this for the Bills. So like you're moving on here, and you don't have that guy right now. So it's a team effort, man, at this point.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have the star player all the time.
Yeah, and I give Bobby Babich a lot of credit for making that defense as good as it was last year with what he had. We lived or died by the turnovers. I think we were top 5 in turnovers. I think at one point we were tied for first or second. But realistically, the defense, they struggled against the run. Look what, Derrick Henry did against us. I know he had that one big run that really gave us 80 yards. That really kind of padded his stats. But the dude did what he wanted. He went out there. He went 4 or 5 yards at a time.
Yeah.
They kept drives alive because of the run game, because we couldn't stop it. So,
and not many people could stop it.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
But you have to be able to slow them down. You have to be able to do something to put a wrench in their game plan. Derrick Henry is going to get his. Yeah. Saquon is going to get his. There's certain guys that are just you're gonna get burned here and there. You're not going to be able to lock up Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase and have fucking 5 yards. Like, they're going to get theirs when they need to. But can you make the big play when you need to stop them and hold them? If he has a 100-yard game, hopefully it's not a 102-yard game with a touchdown and they win it on that last 2 yards. You know what I mean?
Just to touch back on the offense real quick, going back to Justin Jefferson, Sam Darnold just got paid a shit ton of money because of how good Justin Jefferson was. If we had a quarterback like Sam Darnold, like anybody else really, that we needed to get, we needed a number one wide receiver like that, then I totally get it. We could go out and draft somebody that's a number one wide receiver. We could go out, the big tight end, the big running back, whatever it may be. But like you said, having Josh really, fixes a lot of those needs that we don't actually need, which, I get it. Stephon Diggs was great for his career to really jumpstart it. I still think Josh Allen would be Josh Allen, even if we didn't have Diggs. I think he kind of just catapulted him after year one to this guy's really good, to this guy's elite. this guy is one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the league. Oh, because remember all the shit they were talking about Josh Allen last year after we lost Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna regress. The Bills weren't even projected by anybody to win the AFC East, and they won it by week 13. So I agree with Brandon Beane to come back full circle on the Brandon Beane comment. Brandon Beane absolutely killed it this draft.
Keeping with Brandon Beane, he was asked about. And I saw this on the Pat McAfee show.
I missed that interview by like a minute.
Yeah, they had they asked him about James Cook, well, not directly, but they were kind of beating around the bush as if, hey, is this guy going to be there, right? And Beane said they're going to have all 3 running backs returning this year. So didn't give a for sure answer like we're going to pay him or yes, he's going to be there. Opening week of preseason or whatever, at training camp. But he said we have all 3 running backs coming back. So, and again, I still believe that even if they don't get something ironed out, he's going to play. I don't think he's going to be the type of player that holds out. I hope he doesn't, knowing that, what he has with the Bills and what he means to the Bills and like how close we are every year. I don't see him, and he's still a young guy. I don't see it being that kind of guy. His personality doesn't strike it where he's going to be the guy that holds out. Yeah, he might be a little bit hurt that he didn't get something done ahead of time, and I really don't think it's going to be, when they do figure this out, the money that he wants. And I think that he also realizes that he's got competition probably coming up here with Ray Davis, who's only going to probably get better. And he had a great year, especially when he filled in a couple of games where Cook was out completely, but even on the games where he spelled them. I mean, this guy could step in and be a 1. Like, now you got to worry about job security in that sense, where it's like, dude, you just keep playing the way you're playing and you'll get paid. Yeah. We'll figure out all that shit when it comes to it. But you signed a contract, finish out your contract. I don't like this, oh, we got to restructure something, I got to get paid before. No, man. When your contract's up, talk negotiations then.
I agree and disagree. I disagree a little bit. He doesn't want a restructure. He wants his extension.
Well, not a restructure, but he
wanted his extension. He wanted a new contract.
I don't care.
They could have gotten it done.
No, when the season's over, when your contract comes in, and we'll talk about it.
Okay, we talked about this with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. We said the same thing about them. We both agreed that they should have did that years ago when they were in their previous contracts.
I will also say Jamar Chase is a lot more seasoned than James Cook is, and proven,
understandable.
Probably a future Hall of Famer.
And I think what's going to happen is Beane's going to be like, hey, we'll get you close to your number, but go out there and do it again this year.
Give him some reassurance without promising him.
That dude had 3 total rushing touchdowns coming into his 3rd season. He obliterated that by week 3.
I think a lot of that, though, was game script. But yes, I understand he improved stat-wise from year to year. I think he still had – I think he didn't change. I don't think he got better. I think that we found a way to utilize him better is my take on that. I don't think sure, he got better, but I don't think he got that much better where he, 3 to – what did he have last year? How many rushing touchdowns?
He had 16 rushing touchdowns and 2 receiving.
So 3 to 16 wasn't just because he got that much better. Yeah, he improved, but it was because of how we used him in the offense. Right. We alleviated Josh from running the ball a lot more too, which I agree with, and I think everybody agrees with, because you want to save this guy's fucking legs and save his health as long as possible. But
absolutely.
I think if you're Beane, you do a little, you whisper something. Hey man, we'll get this stuff done. Don't worry, we're gonna pay you. You're gonna like it. Come back. We're going to play a season. Just give them some sort of hope that it's going to be all right type of thing. But I don't like this. We got to stop and we got to give you the extension before. No, man, you signed a contract. You're going to actually play tough titties. Either way, you're playing.
Well, he could sit out. He'd lose a shit ton of money.
And I don't like that. And I think, honestly, going forward, a lot of that shit should be put in contracts about certain players. I think a lot of these teams got to start putting in, if you can't sit out. Like, it's against whatever. It's not even about, I don't even know what you could do. You already can, penalize them with money, but, I don't know, man. There's something got to be in the contract about you not being allowed to sit out games. I don't like that, man. I think that's selfish. Because you're putting yourself over the team for money. Yeah,
that's true. And I will say...
And I get your money, but we're in the time of the period nowadays where people are getting paid. This could be a whole nother subject where athletes are getting paid way too much money anyways. So we're going to be fighting over. He wants, what did I put down here? 15 mil per season. Yep. And if that goes to 13 million a season, boo hoo. What's $2 million to somebody that's going to make, that over a long period of time? It doesn't matter. You're going to be rich forever.
Yeah.
As long as you're good with your money, right? So
I think it's all going to work out. And he even said he doesn't want this to be a distraction. He doesn't want to be the center of attention. He doesn't want to be the focal point of any offense or off-season negativity. And I totally agree with him. And because we don't hear a lot from James Cook. The first time we heard from James Cook in the offseason was the sideways, the googly eyes after Saquon Barkley got paid. And then said something about on a TikTok live or Instagram live, he said 15 mil. Great. If we can pay you that, great. But
he's not Saquon, though.
No, he's not.
And he hasn't put the time in either.
Saquon's making $20.6 million. Christian McCaffrey's making $19 million. He's not either one of those running backs. And the way we're going to use him, if we give him, and the cap's only going to go up, if we give him $14 million for a couple seasons, great. I don't care.
Yeah.
As long as
it has to make sense with the cap, too. I get that. And I think, and being smart, these guys are businessmen. They understand how much they need to pay and what they can afford and the pieces that they need to bring back. But, a lot of this is predicated on this season, too. So it's they know that they can't jump the gun and pay somebody something because they don't know if something else is going to work out, and they maybe should have allocated maybe a couple more million per year to somebody else that also deserves it. So, you kind of got to fit these dollar amounts in a little small box here to make everything work. The last thing I'll talk about here with the signings, recent signings, I don't think we talked Trey White 2 weeks ago, because I think that happened. I got there down 421. So 9 days ago. So I don't think we did.
No,
that they signed him. Another depth piece in my eyes. I got the depth chart up here now, and
he's probably third or fourth.
I think he's starting, dude.
No,
you're right. He's not.
There's no way
Over Maxwell.
Nope. No. Dane Jackson.
Then he's third.
No.
Then he's third. Yeah. No, he's starting over Dane. So they got him as a third stringer. I think he's a second stringer.
I even like DeMarcus Ingram too. Honestly, it's Maxwell Harrison's number one, and then you're going to have everybody else just rotating around it. Honestly, in my opinion, Trey White's going to be the guy that goes in when somebody needs a breather. If somebody's trying to chase down an 80-yard bomb and obviously it's incomplete, and he comes back here and Trey White's all right, I'm going to go in, give yourself a breather, go take a couple of snaps off. It's another one of those nostalgia signings, in my opinion. Trey White wasn't even a starter on two teams that needed a starting cornerback. The Rams last year and the Ravens both needed cornerback help, and he wasn't even a starter on those teams. The Trey White of old is gone. Those injuries absolutely fucked him. I feel bad for him. He'd probably still be a number one, maybe number two at this age. But I'm telling you, that the Achilles and the ACL absolutely ruined his career.
So Trey is 30 years old. Dane Jackson's 28 years old. Both those guys, former Bills. Dane Jackson took a year off and went to Carolina last year. I think he started or played in 9 games. Benford, corner one, you're right. They're gonna. Unless something drastically happens in training camp and preseason and that deters that. But I think Maxwell will be cornerback 2. Obviously, Taron Johnson's your nickel. I think Dane and Trey will kind of be the next couple depth pieces there. They still got Codrington, who is going to be their special teams guy, punt returns, kick returns, but he's also technically a cornerback, so you got that depth piece as well. And then I can't forget about Jamarcus Ingram coming out of UB, rookie last year, had a great season, I think, as a rookie cornerback. I think he had a couple picks, too, on the year. I know he definitely had one in that Miami game where Tua got concussed. Okay. So I like that piece. I think we're deep now. We're deeper than we ever have been, I think, in the secondary.
I totally agree. But that's because of what Brandon Beane did in the draft this year.
Now, you got to hope, again, healthy here. Taylor Rapp.
Got injury issues. Cole Bishop is going to get better.
He'll get better.
Cole Bishop should have had an interception on that Xavier Worthy play against Kansas City, which either should have been an interception or an incomplete pass. Yeah. And somehow they were like, Xavier Worthy has the ball, even though his hand was on top of the ball and the ground was touching it. I don't fucking know. That game still blows my mind that the Bills lost that one.
Your boy DeMar
I love DeMar.
Still listed as a starter.
But he's still too fucking slow. We didn't really address
this Derek Forrest guy.
The safety.
I mean, here's a young guy right here too, Derek Forrest. Let's look at the stats here. We picked him up from Washington. 4 years in Washington. Game played 10 games last year, 5, 17, 8. So it's like every other year he's healthy, or maybe that was rookie year, so he didn't play a lot. But last season, 10 games played, only 13 tackles. So it was really 2022 where he really it was his own there. He had all 17 games, 88 tackles, 56 solo, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 4 picks. I mean, that's big. That was the season.
You would have to see what they did in the draft those last couple of years after 2022. They might have gotten somebody that was better than him. They could have phased him out. Yeah, or just I'm not sure. But Washington also started winning games more too. The offense was on the team on the field more last year, especially. So
yeah, but he's young, 25. So
25 years old. Great pickup.
I like that. And again, you're adding depth, which is what you need here. And then offensively, and I put possible, and you just told me before you came over, Elijah Moore, former Cleveland Brown and New York Jet, wide receiver, is now part of the Buffalo Bills, signed. He had 2 seasons with the Browns, 23-4, recorded 120 receptions, 1,100 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, he's a 1,000-yard receiver, 100 yard. I mean, he didn't have the touchdowns to show, but he had the catches. And, that's over 2 years, though. Never mind.
Yeah,
I was retarded there for a second. I was about to say, that's a hell of a fucking season, dude, last year. He just didn't have any touchdowns. But honestly, you break that up, I mean, it's almost 600 yards a season.
And, number 3 wide receiver.
And 60 yards or 60 catches per season. So, like, as your number 3 option on a dog shit team, dude.
Yeah.
Literally. That's not bad.
Not bad
So this is one of these guys where we said the same thing about Curtis Samuel. And I know the health was an issue last year, and he finally got ramped up and became more of an important piece, I think, later in the season and in the playoffs. But this is a guy I think that didn't have a quarterback ever, will have a quarterback. You're going to see his numbers go up. Matt Collins literally broke all his career highs playing with Josh Allen in one season, got paid, went to the Patriots.
Yeah, he doubled his career earnings because of Josh Allen. Like, the dude made like $10.5 or $11 million total over his entire career in the NFL,
which is still a good living.
Plays with Josh Allen, gets an $11 million or a $10.5 million contract with the Patriots for 2 years. Also, I don't know if you forgot, but Josh Palmer probably took over the Amari Cooper role.
I didn't forget.
Josh Palmer is going to be an absolute stud this year. Keon Coleman only going to get better. Like, I truly believe that Keon Coleman and Josh Allen, they're going to build even more of a nice connection. You saw a couple times last year where, he's pointing to him. He's like, you got to get that up higher because that's what he's a strong body. He's going to go up and get the ball. He wants that catch. He's not going to be able to catch it around bodies. It's not what he does. He wants the jump balls. And he told Josh that a couple times last year. Khalil Shakir, I already said it, highest catch percentage in the NFL. You got Curtis Samuel, like you mentioned. Dalton Kincaid should have gotten better as last year. The rookie season, kind of mid. Mm-hmm. Second season, I thought would have gotten better. I actually think Dawson Knox actually had more memorable catches and more like, oh my God, catches over.
Well, like I said, last year was a down year, I think, for Kincaid,
which shouldn't have been because he had a worse year last year than did in his rookie season.
Yeah, it had sophomore slump. I think that happens to a lot of guys.
Well,
but
yeah, it's true.
The receiving core. I think you're actually going to have to play Palmer as your second option there to be Coleman and Palmer because I don't see Shakir playing anything but the slot. Like, yeah, he can play on the outside, but that's not where he's comfortable. That's not where he can do the most damage. He is the small, shifty guy that can run between the numbers. Like,
yeah,
Palmer could do that. Any of them can do that. Yeah. But I feel like Shakir played his best when he was number 3. If we can get him back to being that, doesn't mean he doesn't have to be in the offense as much, or it doesn't mean he doesn't have to be targeted as much. It just means that I don't like him lining up on the outside if you have other options.
Correct.
And I think we have other options this year. And Laviska Shenault, who again, primarily been a special teams player the last couple of years. I think he was on Jacksonville last year. He's a guy that'll add some depth to that. Curtis Samuels, Tyrell Shavers, who I think played in the last game. He had a big game.
He actually hit the longest receiving touchdown of the year last year with
69-yarder.
Yeah,
and a touchdown.
Yeah, that was his only game. I forgot the quarterback. Was it Mitch Trubisky still?
No,
not Mitch Trubisky.
Crap. Let's see.
I don't know.
I can click the score.
Yeah, click that real quick. See who the quarterback. I forgot who it was because Josh only played that.
No,
first.
Josh played. Oh, that's 182. But that was the first half.
He only played one snap on the last.
Hold on. That'll be down here. Shavers. Mitch. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, it was Mitch Trubisky. Okay. Yeah. Mitch, like because after that game, he was like the 13th wide receiver or the 13th player to catch a pass, and they needed one more to break the record, so the Bills tied the record. So, Ovi just scored a goal, by the way. Sorry. It got quiet. I looked up, and all I see is Ovi getting hugs from the team. I fucking love Ovechkin. What an absolute stud.
Well, that's a perfect segue here because I think that kind of wraps things up with the NFL.
Doing my job.
Good job. We got a couple things here left to talk about. We'll start with the NHL playoffs. Hurricanes are the first team to advance to the second round. They beat the Devils last night, 5-4 and 2 overtimes. Yep. I love me some playoff hockey. We got it on in the background right now. The Capitals, I think, are trying to close things out. I think they're up 3-1, right? Against the Canadiens, who were a surprise team to actually even make the playoffs this year. Ovi, we all know, if you haven't been paying attention to the sports world, broke Gretzky's goal record this year. 30th playoff power play goal, 5th all time. The guy's a legend, man. Absolutely. Like he literally is a legend. I did pick the Capitals to win this round. Like, kudos to Montreal for making the playoffs because, like I said, I don't think anybody beginning of the season, especially after last year, I think they won like 30 games last year. So it's like you went, which gets me even more mad thinking about the fucking Sabres. Like a goddamn team like the Canadiens can make the playoffs after having a shit year, but the Sabres having a shit year. I mean, every year is almost a shit year at this point. Still can't make the playoffs.
So speaking of that, I was watching last night's Toronto Maple Leafs and Ottawa Senators game, and I'm just watching these players that used to play for the Sabres. Linus Ullmark was the goaltender. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, man, that dude used to play for the fucking Sabres, and we didn't want to pay him.
Everybody used to play for the Sabres, and they always go on to do
That's
what
I'm saying.
things.
That's what I'm saying. Dylan Cousins scored a short-handed goal. I know he's been dog shit the rest of the series, but then I started watching the Minnesota Wild and the Vegas Golden Knights. You got Jack Eichel. You got Zach Bogosian. Yep. You got Marcus Foligno still playing, of all people. Like, that's not even like Evan Rodriguez is on the Florida Panthers. It's absolutely insane how many people are still playing in the NHL that were a part of the Sabres 14-year drought.
The Panthers with what's his face, Reinhart, and
Sam Reinhart almost led the league in goals. I think. Well, I think he led the league in goals last year.
No, he didn't lead it, but he was up there. He was like a top 3 or something.
60 goals last year,
which is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still got what Oposo. I know
he retired.
On the team. Okay,
he retired.
Okay.
He got his cup and retired.
But again, on the team, like.
There was like 5 or 6 players on the Sabres from the Sabres that played on the Florida Panthers Stanley Cup last year. It's embarrassing. We got to figure this shit out. We got to fucking figure something out. Kevin Adams needs to do something. He needs to go out. He needs to make a top 6 top 6 forward. I was thinking like top 6 defenseman. But no, we need a top 6 forward. Like Jason Zucker was supposed to be the top 6 forward. Incredible year. I think he played fantastic. I'm glad we re-signed him to a multi-year deal.
Yep.
Jordan Greenway needs to get healthy, but we need an actual top 6 forward, and we can't keep trying to draft somebody in the draft because it's not working. You're getting a phone call. Sorry, I got distracted. Your phone started ringing. It popped up. It caught my eye while you were looking for something. But we can't. We just can't be out here trying to draft people because last year the Sabres had 8 picks in the first 4 rounds. The year before that, 8 picks in the first 4 rounds. The year before that, 10 picks in the first 4 rounds. I think 4 of them have actually played an NHL game. It's just absolutely ridiculous that we're just trying to go through the draft. Kevin Adams needs to grow some balls and start trading these prospects and these draft picks away to go get somebody to come here that's already on a contract because nobody's going to come here as a free agent. Nobody wants to come here in a 14-year drought.
No.
Like, That's how you get players in here. You have to trade for them, and you have to start winning, and you have to prove to other free agents eventually, like, oh, hey, Buffalo finally figured it out. Maybe we'll go do something there.
I mean, he's on the hot seat anyway, so like,
I'm surprised he's not fired yet.
It wouldn't be surprising to me if he's not there to start the season.
I do like some of the trades that he's made, but I need him to make a bigger splash. I love the Ryan McLeod trade. I think McLeod's a fantastic player. I like the Jordan Greenway. I mentioned him. I think he's been fantastic for Buffalo, but he's been played with injuries. The Cousins trade.
Yeah.
Josh Norris was already hurt. I think only played a game, maybe 2 with Buffalo. We didn't get to see what he got to do. And I'm already forgetting the defenseman's name that took his Cousins number 24.
Right.
Dockert, something. He's got 2 last names. Something Dockert. I think he was a great addition. He scored a couple goals with the Sabres when he's not even known for scoring goals. So I just think that we got a decision to make within the next couple of years about Alex Tuck. He's due for a contract extension next year, but he's going to demand 8 years. And by the time his 8-year contract runs out, dude's going to be 37. Are we going to want to pay somebody that's 37 years old by that point? It might be a waste of a contract unless you can figure it out where it's a front-loaded contract and we can dump it off, because not everybody can play at a high level at 37 years old.
Right. We also, looks like our stream is frozen, so I wonder how that's working out right now.
Oh, yeah, it is frozen because I'm watching it.
I know, and I got it up here. Even on this end, it's frozen too. So
oh, wonderful.
We'll see how this is going to end up here. I even tried to refresh. I'm not sure. Open Studio. I'll keep tinkering with this software. All good live.
No, it's still
nope,
frozen. I
still
closed
frozen.
it out and picked it back up. Still frozen.
Man, that stinks.
It kind of does stink.
Well, I mean, we'll see. Hopefully the recording doesn't get ruined because I can still post it on Spotify, Apple Music tomorrow as well. But we'll continue to keep talking here. I don't know if I can refresh something. Let me see. Enable, lock, guitar, lock, add, copy, set tone. Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate. I wonder what caused that. Maybe it's too many. Well, you're off the Wi-Fi now.
I turned the Wi-Fi off. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's the first time we've had this issue, and this is the 4th or 5th stream we've done. That's very weird.
All right. Well, we'll try to wrap things up, but I wanted to get into and actually the second game just started, Lightning and the Panthers. Real quick here. 3-1 Washington leads. The Panthers up 3-1 in their series against the Lightning. That game is just starting. Maple Leafs up 3-2. I thought they were going to close things out yesterday in that series, and then
they were up 3-0. Just so you know,
I know.
So all the choke memes are coming back out.
They'll finish that series out. The Kings down 3-2 against the Oilers. I still am pulling for the Kings to get over.
So I'm in a playoff pool where you get one team from each conference, and I've got Washington and the Oilers. If I win that, I think I win like $1,000 or some shit like that. So if it's Oilers and Capitals for the Stanley Cup playoffs, don't threaten me with a good time. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the stream. It's still frozen on my end too,
I know. I'm looking at it, and it's like the camera is even like frozen on it. OBS. I don't want to mess with it, but because I feel like the audio will still get picked up on it.
It should, because you're still recording it.
Yeah, it is what it is. Golden Knights leading 3-2 over the Wild. Stars leading 3-2 over the Avalanche. Kind of a shocker there, because I definitely would have picked the Stars if Jason Robertson was...
Audio's still going.
Audio's still going. I like it.
Video's frozen, but audio's still going.
All right, at least the audio's still going. I know we dropped from like 6 viewers to 1 viewer. That's
probably why, because it's only audio.
It just
right
froze.
Now. It just
Fuck.
froze.
All right, well, we'll figure it out.
Unless the camera shut off on accident.
No, it's still going. It's still
blinking.
It's on.
We'll get this figured out.
The Stars I would have picked if Jason Robertson would have been healthy for the series. And then the Blues and Jets, man. I picked the Blues in this one. The series tied at 2-2. That's on later tonight, 9:30 p.m. A lot of people counted the Blues out just because the Winnipeg was like, were they first, second? Who had the best record this year? I know they were like,
I think it was Winnipeg, because all I kept seeing was their goalie was like, he had like 50 fucking wins or some shit like that. So he had quite a bit of wins.
Hellebuck is good.
Hellebuck is very good.
Let's see if I can configure your video. Just trying to mess with something here.
Washington
Default
scored
device. Again. Okay. And we lost feed now on it. Wait, we're back. Kind of.
Are we back?
Yeah. But I gotta. Hold on. I got to minimize this. We're back. Let's go. It's back. Okay, let me make sure this screen is working. Oh, I got to...
Nope. Show me GoPro webcam. Oh, there it is. It's back.
Yeah, it's back. It's back. It's back.
20-second delayed. All right.
So I got to fix all these screens because they got put over to the side. NBA. Sabres. That's good. And then MLB. I'm going to put that one back over here. We'll take her with this next week. But I wanted to close things out with the MLB. Well, I'm glad if you stuck around, which you didn't. But if you stuck around, we fixed it.
Right. Yeah, because now it says we have 0 viewers on my end. So
great.
That's okay.
NBA playoffs real quick. Thunder and the Cavs both sweeping their opponents in their series. Celtics Pacers winning 4-1 in their series. I'm still alive for my NBA championship matchup. I said the Thunder Celtics to go to the
You're
finals.
Probably going to be right about that. Well, those Cavaliers smoked Miami.
Which is crazy because I'm like, I like Miami. It's probably, I don't know, man. I have a lot of favorite teams. I do like them a lot.
I love Tyler Hero.
Bam Adebayo. They picked up Wiggins in that trade, which I thought was a great piece. You still got Duncan Robinson who can hit threes. They had this rookie, I think Kalel Ware, came out of fucking nowhere this year. Started playing center for them, and they were running him and Bam Adebayo kind of at the same time. And I'm like, this team looks good, but I just think Pat Riley needs to start over, and they kind of got to blow things up there. I think that's where it's getting to.
Probably.
You keep Tyler Hero, and then you might have to trade Bam at this point, even just to get some different pieces around there. Keep the younger guy, but yeah. And then MLB talk real quick, man. My Angels have lost 4 straight. They're 3-7 in their last 10. Back to their losing ways, despite Trout being tied for second in home runs on the season with 9. Absolute dog shit. They're on right now. It was 3-3, and they just gave up like 4 runs in a row to the Mariners. I think they're playing. Terrible. I texted you earlier in the season when they were in first place. I took a screenshot because that's the last time they're going to be in first place this whole year. And typical Angels fashion, they can't win. They're like the Sabres. They win a couple and they lose a lot. They win a couple and they lose a lot.
That's very Sabres-esque.
And you're just not going to get shit done. But your Mets, at least 21-9, have the best record in baseball.
I want to pump the brakes on that a little bit. As much as I'm happy with that record, 20 of their games have been against a team that's had a below 500 record. So what do the Cubs have? Do you know what the Cubs have real quick?
We could pull it up though.
Yeah, real quick. What's the Cubs record? Because I'm going to tell you how many games they've played against a team below 500.
So National League, let's see. Cubs are 18-12.
Do you know how many games they played against teams?
0.
Yes, very good.
So
0 games against teams. They're beating good teams. The Mets are just beating them. But the Mets did sweep the Phillies earlier this year. I think it was a 3-4 game series. So I do got to give the Mets a little bit of credit. They're beating teams in their own, their own league, their own conference, division, whatever the fuck it's called in baseball. I forget sometimes.
Division.
Yeah, but like I said, they've played 20 games out of 30 against teams below 500. And that number's probably skewed a little bit because the team might not have been below 500 when they played them, or at 500. It's early in the season. We're barely 30 games in. We're barely a fifth of the way through the season. So still plenty of baseball left. I mean, tomorrow is May 1st.
This is true.
So there's still plenty of baseball left. I actually think the pitching has been fantastic for the Mets. I think the hitting's been a little bit lackluster too. So if they can get their hitting going, Juan Soto obviously not doing the greatest, not batting behind Judge anymore. I will stand firm on this. I don't think he earned that $700+ million contract, but it is what it is. I'm just happy to see a team do some winning.
I was trying to look up here to see who's doing what over here, but Carson,
for the Cubs.
Kelly, Suzuki, and Kyle Tucker all have 7 home runs.
Yeah, actually, Carson Kelly, he's actually been pretty good. I only know because I got him on my fantasy baseball team, and I picked him up off of free agents. The dude was hitting bombs. I'm like, okay. Next thing I know, I pick him up. I start him. He's got like 3 home runs after I picked him up. So
I mean, they have 6 guys with 5 or more home runs on the team, dude.
Yeah, their offense is fantastic.
Yeah,
I think their pitching is kind of a little sus right now, but You know, I think the Cubs are going to be fun to watch this year, though.
All right. Now that we got the video working again.
Yeah, video working again. We're gonna say see you later.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's usually how it works.
I think that's all I had here, guys. We're wrapping this one up. Thanks for tuning into the live stream. Apologize again about the little technical difficulties. Now that I figured out how to fix that on the go next time,
okay,
we'll fix that. I think I just had to refresh the camera or something inside OBS. But
I did have one thing.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Back to my WrestleMania recap.
I was going to say WrestleMania.
WrestleMania was absolutely...
I got rid of the slide, by the way, so I can't put the image up.
That's all right. I went... So I of the 13 official matches when we did the podcast, I picked 10 of the 13 correct. And one of the matches that I got incorrect, they had a rematch on the Monday Night Raw after Mania, and the team that I picked to win won again. So I don't know what the fuck the reason was to get rid of the... had the team. It was the women's tag team championship match. They had them lose the titles just to win them back on Monday Night Raw. Made absolutely no sense to me. My best match of the weekend was night one's main event between CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. Absolutely beautiful match all the way throughout. And then what we didn't see coming was Paul Heyman turning on both his best friend and his tribal chief, CM Punk and Roman Reigns, respectively, and teaming up with Seth Rollins. And this faction that they've got started going on now, obviously you're not watching wrestling, so I don't even have to mention names, but Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Braun Breaker are starting this new faction. Going to be absolutely electric for years to come. I'm excited for it. Actually, the worst match of the night was John Cena, Cody Rhodes.
I was going to say, how does Cena do?
He won? He won. He won the championship. Why are you putting your finger up to the sky like that? That's Roman Reigns. That's Roman Reigns' thing.
I don't care.
Okay. You don't.
You
can do fingers up.
Oh, wait. Is that Yes Man, though?
Oh, yeah. That was Bryan Danielson. Yes.
Daniel Bryan?
Well, yeah. Daniel Bryan. He's Bryan Danielson in AEW
I know. He
now.
changed it around.
Yeah. Well,
so I know I wrestle.
Okay. All right.
I know a little bit.
I'll give you some street credit on that one. I'll give you some credit on that one. The match sucked. It wasn't supposed to be good, but the ending kind of... Travis Scott, the rapper, helped out John Cena win the match. So I'm like, okay, if The Rock had come out and helped John Cena win the match, would have been fine. But Travis Scott being the focal point of how John Cena won,
but
kind of dog shit.
Wasn't that with like Logan Paul and when like Jelly Roll and MGK came out there during SummerSlam?
Yeah, that was a little different. This is WrestleMania though. This is a little different. I would have expected The Rock to have been there for one of the biggest things. I won't get too far into it, but The Rock is on some hot water for his interview on the Pat McAfee show, basically exposing everything about wrestling and just how he only came back because they needed some ratings. So that was my worst match of the night. My biggest pop of the weekend was TNA World Champion Joe Hendry coming out and facing Randy Orton. Nobody expected it. Randy Orton was supposed to have a match against Kevin Owens. Excuse me. Kevin Owens got injured. No longer has an opponent. TNA champion Joe Hendry comes out. If you got to look up his entrance, it's absolutely it's super catchy. But Joe Hendry comes out, puts on a great show. Randy Orton wins. But the pop that he got when his music started playing, you felt that through the 62,000 people that were in attendance. And I was hyped for it too. I love Joe Hendry. I hope to actually see him in WWE someday, not just TNA. But yeah, there you have it. That's my WrestleMania recap. And we're already, Wednesday the 30th. We're already about 10 days away from the next pay-per-view or PLE, which is Backlash, which is supposed to be the Backlash of WrestleMania.
Well, we'll do a little segment on that at the end of that episode. We'll bring in some wrestling.
Yeah.
Whenever there's like these main event type things.
There's one the 10th. There's one the 24th.
All right, we're not doing that many of them. But yeah, there we'll do it.
Memorial Day weekend, there's also another. It's called Set in a Night main event. It's not as high profile as an actual PLE main event thing, but
honestly, we'll do an episode before then, but I don't mind doing one before Memorial Day weekend. Will be a good one.
Yeah,
we'll probably fit in maybe another one between then. We're kind of just doing these ad hoc until football season is fully underway, but I don't mind doing every other week or every other week, but whenever there's something interesting to talk about in the sports world, especially right now, I mean, there's definitely a lot of playoffs going on in other NBA, sports, NHL. Which is great. So we do have some things to talk about. The NFL is kind of like hit or miss after the draft now. We're going to hear about some signings. We're going to hear about, when it gets closer to training camp and mandatory and this and that. Maybe if a coach or a GM gets fired in the offseason, who knows at this point.
We're still waiting on Aaron Rodgers.
We're still, when the Aaron Rodgers news
make a fucking decision, please.
Eventually breaks, which, I mean, my gut tells me he's going to end up signing this year. I mean, it's crazy to me that he didn't tell the Steelers something for them to be like, we're not going to draft anybody too.
Not that I want to get deep into this, but I saw actually it was Ross Tucker today on the Dan Patrick Show had said that he believes, whether it'll ever be confirmed or not, he believes Aaron Rodgers told the Steelers, I'll come play for you as long as you don't draft Shedeur Sanders, because I'm not dealing with that headache of the Shedeur Sanders bullshit. Because the minute Aaron Rodgers plays and has a bad game, bring in Shedeur. He doesn't want to deal with that shit. He didn't have to worry about that with Zach Wilson and whoever the fuck the backups were last year.
I agree. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah. Just not to go off on a tangent. But
like I said, I don't want to dive too deep into that.
No, you're good. We need something to talk about in a couple weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. We made it through the podcast. Again, if you stayed with us, great. If you're listening to this on YouTube after the fact, great. Thanks for sticking through all the technical difficulties, and we'll be back at it again. I'm Mikey D.
I'm Jeff.
And we out, guys.
Go Bills.